Hello everyone! Welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel, where I'm showcasing my art process as well as yapping about different topics. So grab your favorite drinks and let's get started. Today is a very nice weather, so I decided to work a little bit on something outside my studio. So I grabbed my art supplies, my favorite sketchbook, tripod, and went into this amazing Italian cafe with a very pretty view to the harbor and enjoy some coffee, some pastries, and also enjoy some art making. To be completely honest, I rarely exit my house, and even more rarely I go to coffee shops or cafes, especially when I'm alone. But when I do, I really enjoy it to the fullest. Because sometimes I have to go to the city. Mind you, I'm living quite away from the city, so when I actually go, I spend there at least half a day, and I always take some art supplies with me because my ADHD brain cannot bear a single day without drawing or doodling or sketching or whatever. And I really appreciate the cafe staff that doesn't mind me filming here. So I get to show you how I'm working on the sketchbook spread featuring my original character, Sherry from Lyria World. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I'm working on a fantasy setting that I plan to do into a tabletop game in the future, but for now this is just a fantasy world with characters. I like to write short stories that I actually never post anywhere. And for someone who is writing stories, I like to draw out my characters because I have this strong need to visualize everything that I think of. And I guess one of my special interests is characters, so no wonder I'm obsessed with drawing them out. So what I like to do with my characters is to make a special sketchbook spread where I'm featuring most of their design or like a full body artwork to showcase all the details that I think that they have in their outfit, maybe a couple of expressions and close-ups on the details that are important for some reason. And I also want to try and learn to do funny things like little memes with Lyria characters. So I'm trying to draw out some funny situations or expressions or semi-memes, whatever you can call it, from the game sessions that we have with my players. Because honestly, I cannot be possibly thinking about funny stuff on my own. I always need someone else's input and help to do so. And such situations and running gags actually happen a lot during our game sessions. So I'm kind of drawing from the inspiration of the jokes and memes of people that are playing my game. So long story short, Lyria has 6 stats or aspects that are the strongest characteristics of the character in numbers. And Sherry is Elegantian, so she's coming from a race that is very dexterous, but their weakest part is the intelligence. So there is a running gag that all the Elegantians, they are a little dumb. So a lot of gags and memes come from this point. One of those days I've been scrolling through memes and I've seen this cat picture with a very silly expression on their face, and I couldn't help it, but I imagined Sherry with the same expression and the loading screen in her forehead. So I just decided to kind of draw that out because it is quite accurate about her. Even though as a character she's very street smart and she is actually a hunter, so she's been there for the party to help them navigate the wilderness. But since she's an NPC, I don't have like a big ass backstory for her, just a couple of fun facts here and there. So for example, her favorite food is a cherry pie and her favorite drink is a wooden ale, which I also featured on this sketchbook spread, by the way. So after putting a first layer of the lines onto the sketch that was made beforehand, it was time for a coffee break with a delicious cannoli pastry and a couple of minutes of thinking about the endlessness of universe. And after that, I was full on reset and ready to work on the detailed line art. Very often when I'm working on a line art only artwork, I have found myself thinking that if I erase the sketch beneath it, I would inevitably damage the layer of the lines as well. And that's how I started working on it in phases, let's say. So first phase is a rough line art. Basically, I'm just putting rough lines on top of the sketch just to solidify it. And when I'm going to erase the sketch, there will still be guidelines for me to work on. After erasing the sketch, I'm starting to work on a real line art. And for this, I usually use a thinner liner, and I'm putting more thought into line weight. And most of the time, if I want to add the shadows, it's usually added on this stage. But for this one specifically, I didn't want to put much lines for the shaded areas because I wasn't sure if I'm going to color it in the future. Because if I would probably go with the alcohol-based markers, and they tend to smudge the line art if there's too much lines in the place where I'm putting the alcohol-based markers. So, in order to give myself more flexibility with this artwork, I decided not to do any shading. And if I wanted to color it, I could do so. And if I didn't want to color it, I could just always add the lines for the shadowed areas later on. So you see, this kind of stuff comes from experience because I know my methods and my techniques and the flaws and tops and cons and everything about them. So that's the reason that I do things this specific way. But it's not like right or wrong way. There's no really right or wrong here. Everything comes down to the techniques and the way you apply things on your artwork. I'm just here to share my artwork pipeline and my experience and maybe help out someone who is struggling, I'm not here to say that this is the right way or this is the wrong way to do it. No, this is a safe space for everyone, for artists, for non-artists. We are listening and we're not judging. We are only judging art theft and also AI art, which is not art, by the way. Anyway, I am finishing this sketchbook spread with adding some thin lines representing leaves on the background, just to highlight the background culture of Sherry. She's coming from a wooden caracal culture, which is heavily inspired of protecting nature. So yeah, that would be it. I really enjoyed this art session outside, honestly. It was a gulp of a fresh air. Sorry, my pun. It was a nice experience for a change. But what about you, my fellow friends? Do you go to cafes? Do you do something else besides eating and drinking in the cafes? Do you usually go alone or with friends? Do you have any favorite cafes in your city? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like my work and you want to support it for free, you can like, comment, and share this video to somebody who might like it. And you can also check my other social media pages linked down below and subscribe to this channel. And as always, I thank you for hanging out here with me, wishing you a fantastic day ahead, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!